I was actually assistant chief of mental health in the Rikers Island Solitary Confinement Unit. And as devastating as this report is, and it really is so horrible to contemplate, I am actually so pleased that it has come out because it is absolutely the truth. It is what my experience was in working in that solitary confinement unit. And it is essential that people understand. Solitary confinement is something that is tucked away, it's out of sight. The public has no idea of what goes on inside these cells. What I see is their understanding of movies where, in the Shawshank Redemption, things like that, our hero goes into the hole, comes out, a little dusted up, but no worse for the wear. And this couldn't be further from the truth. And the truth is what this report is highlighting. And just to give you an idea of what it's actually like in there, my job essentially was to go to these cell doors. And at that time, there were 500 isolation cells on Rikers Island, all full, primarily with people of color, and assess the self-mutilation, the head banging, the self-destruction that went on every single day. And I want to repeat that. It was every single day, not isolated incidents of self-harm, but the nature of a solitary confinement unit is this utter, abject, intense misery, suffering, hopelessness, and death. I saw blood-smeared cells, and I saw people's bare skulls from banging their heads, and makeshift nooses. And this was just part of your day. And it was obviously very disturbing to me and raised the question for me of ethical conflict about healthcare workers working in these units and knowing that something is very, very badly wrong here. The HALT bill is using the word torture, and I have to say that it is not being used casually. It's not being used lightly. This is the state of affairs inside these cells. And what we could do is if we thought somebody was going to die, we could take them out, as Jack mentioned earlier, for a, quote, reprieve, but only long enough till someone has sufficiently recovered and we would put them back in, which I really thought had all the earmarks of torture. I might add that virtually everyone was on psychiatric medication. We had a saying at Rikers in the mental health department that if they had no mental health issues before solitary, they do now, which goes back to earlier speakers, I think Dr. Lee, that people who would not have contemplated suicide, would not have been psychotic, would not have been so horribly depressed, were not for solitary confinement. So this absolutely makes life pure hell and distorts people's brains. And what you see them doing is anything to escape it. And again, virtually everyone on psychiatric medication, and I had to ask myself, what kind of a punishment is this that people have to be medicated in order to endure it? Now, the flip side, I think if we look at opposing views, they would say they're all just doing this to get out, etc. And I'd have to say that putting a noose around your neck and stepping into it in the hopes that you will get removed reflects such a level of desperation. What is it that you are trying to escape? This is no more about what they, would call, faking it and things of that matter. It's bad, it's terrible, and it's inexcusable. And I'm just, again, so relieved by this report that it's coming out, because the suffering is real, and it is absolutely, as Jerome and everyone else is pointing out with the HALT bill, it's not necessary. There are humane alternatives to this, and we need to get this bill enacted and stop this barbaric practice, and we need to do it now, because it is bad. This report is the truth, and we need to do something. Thank you.